I truly love life. I love living. I love meeting new people. Now we're going to finish this podcast. We're going to go to Tomillo. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to laugh. I'm going to introduce you to some people that are waiting for me over there. You're going to do some connections. We're going to do PR. I truly, genuinely love life.
Welcome to Shakin Hands, where we provide the platform for entrepreneurs and thought leaders to share their stories in order to hopefully influence others to get out of the rat race and chase their own dreams. If you have any recommendations for guests or questions that you want to be asked, please don't hesitate to reach out. Anyways, if you enjoy the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share in order to keep the podcast growing. Otherwise, I'm your host, Jack Moran, and this is Shakin Hands. If you're looking for business mentorship, I have a place where you can get feedback on your unique personal development and business growth challenges. Over the last year, I brought together a group of impact-driven thought leaders where we meet every single day to discuss psychology, communication, mindset, and business case studies. We have people who have made millions of dollars, lost millions of dollars, Harvard MBAs, and new entrepreneurs like you and I. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, so if you're looking for a support system, please follow the link in the description below for some more information. It's super casual, super chill.
I saw it.
Yeah, we just go with the flow.
I saw a couple of them. Like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
It's a very naturally evolving conversation.
But you got some good, like I was listening to some of your guys that you invited and they had some fucking really good input. I was like, oh yeah, está bueno.
Yeah, we try to talk about the things that I think are important, which are the soft skills of, and it's not necessarily just entrepreneurship, it's really more people that are following their passions and their purpose. And I think, my own belief is that by chasing those passions, that is the best contribution and the biggest impact you can make on the world is when you're doing what feels true to yourself, not just like doing what society tells you should be a doctor or,
Very nice.
And so, so I think that having an authentic conversation that's naturally evolving, 90% of the time, I don't even know the person's name before they sit in the chair. So it's me genuinely asking the questions about the person that I'm interested in and trying to get to know them.
Okay.
And there you go. That's how it flows.
Let's go.
Are you Panamanian originally?
Panamanian, born and raised, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've heard that it is like a very emerging food destination here.
It is.
Why is that?
Are we on?
We're rolling.
Oh, shit. I thought you were going to be like 3, 2, 1. Well, hey, you know what? Felipe Milanes. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It is, man. It really is. I've been here for 10 years now. When I say that is because I left Panama for 15 years to study culinary arts, fell in love with the profession. And by doing that, I traveled the world. And I came back in 2015. Now that you just said that, when I came back in 2015, I was like, yo, man, I want some ramen. And there was no ramen in Panama in 2015. I'm telling you this because what you just said. In 2015, only 10 years ago, there was no ramen in this country. Now there is more than 5 ramen destinations and franchises. So is it growing? Yes, it's growing hardcore. Why? And that's the question. Why is it growing? Why does a culinary destination grow? Because of the people. As a chef, I can go as far as what you want, right? So if Panamanians ask for something, you do it and you keep evolving. Panamanians have been traveling and traveling. Every time you travel, you come back and you say, fuck, this is awesome. I want this now. So they ask for more. And that's what's been going on with the culinary scene in Panama. And then you have guys like me, 45-year-old, lived 15 years out, came back, saw all these things. I trained my staff with how I was trained in first world countries, because this is a third world country. I love it. I'm Panamanian. This is third world, right? So now you have all these chefs coming, traveling, coming to Panama and doing their thing. So that's why Panamanian cuisine, not cuisine, food scene, is like blowing up.
What inspires your food creativity? Because it's like an art.
Well, do you know why it's an art? What's art?
It's I don't have an exact definition for it, but
Well, what's art for you?
For me, it's like it's a language.
It's language, reaction of emotion.
Mhm,
You see a paint, you say, man, that makes me feel scary, right?
mhm.
You hear a song, you say, wow, that reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. Food is emotion. Well, that's why it's an art, but it's not an art because we're artists. I'm not an artist. I cook. I love to eat. I'm a fat guy. That's why I cook. You ask why my passion is? I like eating more than I like cooking. So that's why I cook. And it so happens to loving to eat so much made me have to cook. And now we have what we have. But yeah, food is art because it brings an emotion. If I give you something and you go, holy shit, this reminds me of my grandmother when she used to make this. And that's what art is. Art is sacar emociones from somebody. But what makes me want to cook is the fact that I fucking love eating. I don't love cooking. I love eating. I've always said it.
How do you keep that creative integrity when you have so many opinions influencing that creativity?
Listen, at the end of the day, you have to literally listen to the people who are around you, right? As a cook, you always try to replicate what made you happy when you were a kid. I don't think there's going to be any chef that can tell you, like, no, that's not true. All of us chefs, cooks, people, humans, whatever, we always want to remember those memories. So every time we're cooking and all these voices are coming around, like, you should do this, you should do that, this is what's trendy, this is what's not, you always go back to when you were a kid. Fuck, what made me happy? It's all about always being a kid. And then you're like, okay, I remember I used to eat this. Now, how can I make this a little more sophisticated so that people can taste a memory that made me happy? Because that's what you try to do. So all these voices, you go boom, and you go back to being a kid. At least that's what I do. And I can assure you many chefs do the same thing. You always go back to when you were a kid.
So you said that you studied culinary.
Culinary arts, yeah.
What was that early journey like? So, first of all, how did you decide that you wanted to be a chef? When did that happen? And then once you made that decision to pursue this profession, did you jump right into starting your own restaurant, or you worked for someone else, or just talk
Okay.
about that experience a little
Okay,
bit?
so I never wanted to be a chef. I was awful in school. The school system wasn't made for people like me. And nowadays, you know of people like me. What do I mean? People like me, ADD, DHD, all these other things, right? I did 7th grade 3 times, literally 7th grade, 1 year, 7th grade again, 7th grade 3 times. So I was awful in school. By the time I graduated from a night school, my mom's like, yo, you got to do something with your life. I said, okay, I'm going to study marketing. I think I could be good in marketing. At that time, there were no culinary schools in Panama. So I went to the US. My mom at the time worked in the embassy of DC, the embassy of Panama in DC. She said, why don't you come over here? Let's get you in college, see what happens. By the way, there's something called culinary school over here. You've always liked cooking because you like eating. Why don't you come check this out? So I remember I went into a classroom and everybody's fucking eating and writing stuff down. And I'm like, are they like in recess? No, this is college. I mean, but they're eating. Well, it's 90% that, 10% classroom. I was like, are you serious? So I'm going to come 5 days a week, 1 day in a classroom, and 4 days I'm going to be eating. She's like, yeah, that's culinary school. I'm like, fucking sign me up. And I never wanted to be a chef. So I was like, Mom, this is what I want. She's like, okay, well, dale, papito. So I got into culinary school and something happened. I don't know what. Maybe it was the fact that for 21 years, I didn't even read one book and my brain was just like ready for information. That when I started my first day in culinary school, I became obsessed with it. Like nothing in my life. I was like, boom, became obsessed with it. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this shit and I'm gonna be the greatest and I'm gonna, and that's it. And I just never looked back, man, since 2001. I just started school randomly because my mom took me and I thought it was cool to go to school and eat and not have to study and never looked back, man.
So once you left school, did you start working for someone else, or you immediately started your first
No,
restaurant?
I always worked. There's a chef called Charlie Trotter. May he rest in peace. To me, he's one of the pioneers of modern American cuisine. And he was one day in school, right? And he had every student ask him a question. My question was, listen, dude, I'm studying 2 years, my associates. Should I do 2 more years, my bachelor's? And he goes, listen, Felipe, It's not what you do in school who's going to make you the chef that you're going to be. It's what you do after school. And when you work, it's not the hours that you get paid for that are going to make you the chef that you're going to be. It's the hours that you work for free. So my opinion is, fuck your bachelor's. I never went to school. Work for free as much as you can. And that shit hit me. And I was like, cool. So what I would do was I would go, and if my schedule was from 2 to close, I would go at 8 in the morning and work for free from 8 to 2, then clock in and then work. But I always worked for somebody. I was a line cook. This is the thing. I was a line cook for 8 years, bro. 8 years line cook. Nobody wants to be a line cook anymore. Everybody wants to be a sous chef, a junior sous chef. I was a line cook for 8 years. What is a line cook? A line cook is a guy who goes to a station, sets his station up, cooks all night, then breaks down the kitchen, cleans the hood, mops, and cleans. After 8 years, I took my first position as a chef. So I worked as a line cook for 8 years, and my year 9, I became a chef. And I got my first position as a chef.
So through that experience, through that mentorship you were getting and those experiences through those jobs, what skills were you taking away outside of cooking that you use today?
Okay, repeat that.
So when you were in those experiences getting this mentorship, obviously there's a lot of personal habits that you have to be a successful professional in any profession. So obviously our audience is entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So I want to understand, what are the skill sets and the lessons that you took away that are not specific to, okay, this is how you cut a vegetable, but what were those personal habits that are allowing you to be successful today?
Okay. That's a great question. Human beings, right? Learning to understand human beings. That's what I learned from it, because you can't grab a 10-inch stick and hit everybody in the head with it and make them understand what you want. Every person is different. I could scream at you and that's how you understand. But I could scream at him and he just blocks down, shuts down. What I learned, which is the most important thing, is how to deal with fucking human beings. And I say fucking because, oh my God, human beings. Human beings. That's the most, out of everything that I know. Right now we have 14 restaurants, our social media, we have businesses. And when people ask me, that is dealing with human beings. It's something incredibly, you have to have so much patience. And throughout the years, I try to understand human beings more and more and more. Because when I meet somebody that does an amazing job, I don't think they're human, man. Because it's hard to find really, really, really good quality of a team. And we have a great team. But I think I have aliens working with me because they're really good at what they fucking do. Because every time you hire people and you deal with people, it's like, dude, I've told you this is the 7th, and it happens to everybody in this room. Everybody in this room at one point has had to say, hey, we're going to do a podcast, ahora viene Milanes, make sure the light is on. Dude, why is the light not on? And you're like, okay, it's because he's a human being. Human beings. Learning to deal with humans is what taught me. It's been everything.
What is the key to successfully dealing with human beings?
Saying fuck it and being okay with saying fuck it. What do I mean by that? You get frustrated when you try to teach somebody something and the person doesn't learn it. So you keep trying and you get frustrated. You get frustrated at the person. But it's not the person's fault and it's not your fault. So what you have to say is, dude, this is our 4th podcast and you still don't have the light on? Man, fuck it. You're not the guy. Or you're not the woman. Fuck it. Say fuck it is okay. Sometimes you have to just say fuck it. That's how I deal with human beings.
You put a big emphasis on how important your team is. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, including myself, building a quality team can be one of the biggest challenges when developing your business. What have you found to be the keys to attracting the right type of people to your team?
Okay. Your culture, right? You create a culture, okay? What is the #1 brand in the world? Catholic Church. I'm going to give you that answer fast. Catholic Church. Fucking amazing brand. First book, second book, Jesus, the 9 guys, the whole story. How did he create that? I'm using this as an example because this is what I did. How did he create that? He said, esta es la palabra de Dios. Estos son los mandamientos. These are the commandments, right? He preached to his, how do you say it in English?
Disciples.
Yes. He preached to them, right? When you open a business, like I have done, my first, and I'm not comparing myself to Jesus at all. Fuck, not even nada. But what did I do? I said, I come from the United States, and we're gonna create Tomillo, one of the best restaurants in Panama, and these are the 10 commandments. Ta 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 ta. And I was preaching every day, and I'm cooking every day, and I'm talking to you and talking to you and talking to you. I'm preaching my word of my world, right? So I created my disciples. That was my first restaurant. So what did the disciples do? They go out and preach your word, but they have to hear it from somebody first. So when you open up your first place, whatever it is, selling clothes, a bikini shop, a pool, you build pools, whatever it is, you have to be Jesus, and you have to preach the word. And those first people that you have are going to hear the word directly from Jesus. And then you say, okay, it's time to open up our next bikini shop. Who's going to open it? My disciples. And they're going to preach the word for me. And that's how you do it. Your team, you build it. At the end of the day, that's what I've done. My team that is now with me has been with me now 9 years. And they're in charge of all the restaurants. Why? Because they started with me and they heard the word, la palabra del chef. He was there every day cleaning, working. Esta la palabra. And now they preach it. We have 6 buco pollo, 6 beef burgers. I don't cook in any of these fucking restaurants. I love them. But my disciples, now they're the chefs. But it all started with the first restaurant. So if you're going to open up a place, you have to be there. You have to decir la palabra. You have to say, these are my commandments. ¿Cuáles son? You come in, you say hi to everybody, you shake everybody's hand, and you look at them in the eye. Número dos, everything, tan, 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 again and again and again and again. So when new people come, I don't even say anything. They're like, no, dude, no. You didn't say hi. We shake everybody's hand when we come in here. Okay, hi, dude. You're disciples. That's how you do it.
So you obviously have a great product. You're a renowned chef here in Panama, but obviously at some point, people didn't know that. How were you able to get that message and that product out to so many people? And what do you think what were the methodologies to start distributing that product and getting your message out to people?
I was fortunate enough that I'm from Panama, right? So Panama's small. You see all these amazing big buildings, but we're still a little country. Yeah, the countryside is small. So when I came back from the US, it wasn't really difficult for me to say, hey, dude, I'm back. You know, I've been out for 15 years and Panama's small, and between my friends and family, the word spread out. So I have to say I'm fortunate. I have a great group of friends that they all supported me, and they just spread the word like, man, Felipe regresó. Let's go to his restaurant. Let's go taste it. And then it started from there. And then it just,
So Mary, when she was obviously who introduced us to you, she was showing me your like social media page. It seems like it's really growing. What's that journey been like?
That's fun, man. That's fun because people listen, right? It can go both ways. Like I was just saying, I'll show you the video. I did a video yesterday with Sandra Sandoval. She's a very famous singer. I was hammered yesterday. Fucking smashed. Well, that's what we do. We have a good time. We have drinks. And I forgot that I was doing a video with her, and she came, and I'm sure I'm going to get a call from my mom. She's in the US right now. And I'm looking at the video and I'm like, fuck, I'm smashed. You could tell that I'm smashed. And, and I'm sponsored by brands, even Specialized. Like, I'm an ambassador of Specialized. I'm going to do 130 kilometers in 4 months. How is it? It's fun, but at the same time, it's a responsibility because people listen. They listen, they hear, and what you say matters to people when you have social media like the one I have. I don't have 1 million followers. I have 140,000 followers, which is not much, but I have an amazing engagement. And I know that what I say and what I do could either make somebody pissed off, make somebody happy, or it could change their day. So it's a big responsibility, but I enjoy it very much, like so much. I wake up every day, I open my phone, I answer to everybody. If you're walking down the street and you're like, hey, chef, ¿cómo está? You guys get some pan? ¿De qué te escribí? I wrote to you the other day. I said, I know. And I answered, right? Like, yeah, you did. I answer every message that I get in Instagram. And it's fun.
Why do you think it's important that you answer the messages and not just delegate that to someone else?
No, I like the connection.
Do you think that that is a imperative to your success? And that's,
I think that if you have a social media, I don't care how many followers you have. Oh, well, I can't say that because I don't have a million of followers. But I think that if you have social media and you do content like what I do, it's irresponsible not to answer. So why the fuck am I going to post a recipe and then somebody asks me about the recipe and me not answer? So don't post that shit. Don't do that. You know, so to me, it's a responsibility. I post things, people ask, I answer. You ask a smart question, I give you a smart answer. You ask a stupid question, I give you a stupid answer. That's it. Simple.
why do you think it's important to devote your energy to social media as opposed to something else within the business? What is the power of that social media?
Well, the power of you move masses. That's extremely important. To know that you can create things with just your words is important. And two, fucking makes me money. So yeah, I work with, I don't know, right now, 9 brands, and it makes money, and it's good money. You know, it's me, my team. It gives jobs, and it's something I never in my mind ever at my 45-year age, never. I had a meeting today. I just closed 2 more years with Estrella Galicia. I posted it on my Instagram.
Who's that?
Estrella Galicia. It's a Spanish beer from Galicia, from Spain. And I never thought that somebody would pay me to drink beer. You know, like, I think that's so cool. And that I'm raising 3 girls that they see that their dad wakes up every day like, holy fuck, what does today have? Not like, oh, babe, my boss sent me a memo and then they don't hear any of that shit. They hear like, holy shit, every day papi has an adventure. And I think that, to me, that's amazing because I'm raising 3 kids that are like, that's life. That's how life's supposed to be. Fun. Papi and mommy, they're always en algún verguero. They're always filming. They're doing these things. They're drinking. They're eating. They're always, it's fun. Life should be an adventure. Man, I'm 45. 15 years ago, I didn't even have a kid. Now I have 3. Like that, I'm going to be 80 watching this podcast. Like, oh, fuck, I remember when I was there eating soy sauce beer. So to me, all these things that's what it is, man. It's just a snap of a fucking finger.
Yeah. It's super powerful, and I'm curious, like, do you think that it was an accident, or not an accident? Do you think that you just got lucky to have that lifestyle, or is it some action or some piece of your personality that has created the foundation for this lifestyle that you live? And is it repeatable by someone else who may not be living the life that they want?
Listen, it's going to sound crazy because I'm Catholic and I believe in Jewish things and I believe in Hindu things. I believe in everything that I put into my world. I created a world where I believe in different religions. I think it was my time. I don't believe in luck. Luck does not exist. I believe that in my past lives, God brought me to this one, to this moment. Because there's no way that a guy like me who grew up in a house that food was just to eat, to have energy. There was no passion of food in my house. It was just, let's eat so we can continue working or whatever. I must have in my past life paid a bunch of shit to get what I have now. That's what I think. That's what I tell people, dude, if it's not happening in this life, just keep doing it, because it's going to add up. And trust me, in the next life or the next life, you're going to get what you're supposed to get. I think that, fuck, I'm living the cool life that this guy ate a lot of shit in other lives. That's what I think, and that's what I believe. So when you ask me that, is me tocó, it's my turn. This is my life now. The next Felipe, I don't know what, but that's his fucking deal. I'm living this one. And I know I did a lot of things in my past life to bring me where I am now.
In the food and beverage industry, there is a lot of distractions, right?
Yeah.
What habits have you instilled in your life to not succumb to those distractions?
Oh, I mean, before I had my kids, it was all very crazy. The restaurant world is high stress. There's a lot of drugs. It's very crazy. I'm a father, right? So I always look at my kids, and I have an amazing wife. Like every time I get invited to a podcast, I'm like, she should be next to me, because the truth is, if I didn't have my wife right now, I would be naked under a gutter, hammered, crazy, with nothing. She's that, el ancla, el ancla. Not only my kids, but her. Like, okay, dude, you got to slow down. Okay, now I'll go up, go down. What did I do? I married the right woman, man. The most important decision of a man or a woman is who's going to be your partner. Forget about everything we're talking. The most important decision you're going to make in your entire life is not what do you want to do for a living, who do you want to be? No, it's who is going to be your partner of life. That's the most important decision you're going to make in your life. Escuchen. And I made the right one. So,
What is the biggest horror story that you've encountered to date
in what? Because there are many things that I can talk about.
through your business?
No, man, always losing money. I've opened restaurants, and I've, probably 3, 4, 5 restaurants that have gone under, maybe 6. Losing money is never fun, but it's always a PhD. Anytime you lose a lot of money and a place goes under, it's like, okay, well, I have a new PhD. Now I have un doctorado. But the most horror story, shit. I can't say this on video. It's just losing money, man. I can't say, but yeah, just losing money it always hurts.
You obviously have a very positive outlook on life, but for a lot of people, having 4 or 5 failures would be a death sentence for them, and they wouldn't continue, maybe not even after the first time. How have you been able to retain this confidence in yourself, even in the face of adversity, to keep pushing forward and, eventually leading to this success that you've had?
I truly love life. I love living. I love meeting new people. Now we're going to finish this podcast. We're going to go to Tomillo. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to laugh. I'm going to introduce you to some people that are waiting for me over there. You're going to do some connections. We're going to do PR. I truly, genuinely love life. I love to live. I love to wake up and say, oh, fuck, I got another day. Here we go. What's going to happen today? Sometimes I hate humans, but I love life. I got to make this clear about the humans. So I love living, man. I think this life that's been given to me and that I've earned is fun, man. It's a lot of fun. Like, I have a fun life. I really do. Of course, I have my daughters. They can be bratty. My wife can be a bitch sometimes. I love you, babe. My mom can be like, well, how come? My mom's going to call me and tell me, dude, you look hammered in this video. What the fuck are you thinking? You got kids. I'm like, I'm sorry, mom. But I love life, man. Like, I love life.
If you see someone on the side of the street that's not necessarily having the best life, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them to start embodying this very fulfilling lifestyle that you're living now?
If somebody is really like just bum and just like negative, I won't try to change their mind. I would tell them, listen, dude, fuck it. You lost it in this lifetime. Maybe the next one's your turn. That's your shit. That's not mine.
That's hilarious.
That's a genuine response that I would tell somebody.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. You have a couple kids, right? How many kids do you have? 3 kids?
3 daughters, yeah.
Through your entire life journey, what is the biggest piece of advice that you leave for them?
I've done many podcasts, and that's a very good question. So I have to think a little. Repeat the question again.
Through your life journey, through all the lessons, the ups and downs that you have had, what is the one most important piece of information or important lesson that you take away from those experiences that you would share with your kids? If you only had one thing to give them.
Okay. Beware of human beings. That's it. Beware of human beings. Because everything that happens to us, it's because of human beings. Just beware of human beings.
Wow.
Where are you afraid? Beware of human beings. Everything else, you can manage.
So how do you filter who is a good and who is not a good person?
Somebody who's too nice to you all the time listen, I have 3 kids, right? And I see people and I study humans. Not that I study them, but I deal with humans so much. Like we all deal with humans, right? I wish we dealt with aliens. You can tell after some time in your life, you can literally tell who's fake and who's not by how they speak to you, by how they compliment you or not compliment you, and by when you say something that is really stupid. Because out of my mouth today in this podcast, I've said a lot of stupid things, but that's what I believe. And there will be people who say, man, that's stupid. That's a true person. Somebody who goes, Felipe, I saw the podcast and everything you said, 2 thumbs up. Like, no, it's impossible. I said a lot of stupid shit, man. That's how you notice and you start weeding out. And you have your círculo cero, and you have your friends, you have your drinking friends, you have your talking friends, you have your business friends, and that's how you separate everything.
So you think a person that is nice all the time is deep down inside a bad person?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I will tell you, go fuck yourself many times. I'm being fun right now because we're having a good time. But if you say something stupid, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's fucking stupid. And you're gonna be like, how can you say that? I'm like, no, you're stupid. That. Somebody who's always yes, everything's perfect, everything's fine, you're the best. No bueno, no bueno. You don't want to surround yourself with yes people.
And I've dealt with being that yes person in the past. Like when I was younger, my parents, it was kind of tumultuous growing up, and we bounced around to a lot of different schools and a lot of different towns. And so I had to learn how to, I guess it wasn't necessary, but in my head, I had to learn how to quickly fit in to these different spheres. And I guess one of those tactics of surviving was to just be very unconfrontational. And I could see that there is a big group of people that aren't receptive to that way of communicating. They don't want you to just tell you to tell them exactly what they want to hear. And I think that that's been a very important lesson in my life, is that when I do that, when I am that yes man, it leads to a lot of misalignment within my life and incongruence, because although I'm interfacing with anyone, my authentic self isn't interfacing, and those people wouldn't be in my life if I was being authentic. And the more that, and it's, I'm working on it every single day, but the more that I am authentic and true to myself in my communication, the more the right people for me start to attract to me, and the people that didn't belong in my life in the first place start to leave.
That's exactly that. But that's exactly how life is. But now I want to ask you a question. You've met me now we've been speaking for about 35, 40 minutes, right? 30, right? You've done all these podcasts. I saw a couple of them, 5 minutes here, 4 minutes there, 3 minutes there. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I saw them all. You're fucking amazing. But there were some really good questions that you asked people, and there were some really good answers. Now that you've met me for 30 minutes, and everybody that you've spoken with, and everything that you've listened, what advice would you give me as an entrepreneur, knowing who I am for 30 minutes, the type of person that I am? What advice could you give me, a life advice to a human? Felipe, ta 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 ta. But for me, not for them. Fuck them. For me. I got to use this moment, right? This guy's interviewed a lot of people. What advice would you give me? And not fuck you. I love you guys, but
So when you were originally asking the question, in my head, I was thinking like it's going to be difficult to answer this question because I don't really know you that well. But if I look back, there was one thing that stood out of all questions that for me was like something that I disagree with, and not disagree with, but I think that I have found when you say be wary with people, I am a person that gives people a lot of slack, And because of it, I've been burned many, many times. But that led me to start becoming a colder person. And I think that response that I had to people burning me didn't get me out of that situation. Like,
Okay.
because of that, I started just attracting colder people. And I think that if there's one universal truth that I have found in reality, it's that love is the answer. And I think that the more that we can push out that positive energy and give people a chance, that doesn't mean you have to like let people take your energy and you have to let negative people in your life. But I think that leading with and giving people a chance and not starting to be wary with them,
Okay.
but leading by not judging them, but giving them a chance. Because I think that every person deep down inside has love within them, but people are just a product of their experience. And there's a lot of people out there that I think people that you would perceive to be a bad person, that when given the chance, when given the trust, they will rise to the occasion. But they've just had this compounding experience and you don't know what their childhood was like growing up or
Of
whatever.
course.
And that survival mechanism and those paddings that they've put in have turned them into the person that they are today. And I think that if we want to convert those people that appear to be really bad into people that are good people, the only way to do it is through compassion and empathy and love. So that would be the one thing that I could say in that this small conversation that we've had.
No, but it was great what you just said. I don't fucking know what people go through, but yeah, you're right. That's a great advice.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
What and vice versa, like, you know, I'm aware that that mindset has gotten me in trouble as well. So with there's two sides to every coin, and it's hard to say what is the perfect balance.
There's
But
really three, but there is their story, their other story in the middle.
exactly.
You could say I'm an asshole. I can say you're an asshole. That's your story. There's my story, and there's a truth.
And
So it's
and I could probably benefit from coming more to your side of the pendulum, and it would lead me to get burned less. But I think that there is, like you said, that third side is the best side, is that
there's
common
always
ground.
that common ground.
My final question to you, though, is what is your definition of success?
Another great question, man. Wow. My definition of success is to own your own time. What I mean by that is, right now, of course, me as a father, I'm not going to see my success until I see what my kids become of. Let's put that to a side. That's a family success. As a person, to me, money means nothing. Only somebody who has it says it. It's not about the money. It's about your time. What do I mean by this? We're going to finish this podcast and we're going to go to one of our restaurants and we're going to have drinks and we're going to eat. And I can do that because there's nobody calling me to tell me, hey, do you have this? No. If I want to wake up tomorrow at 12 because I got hammered, or I just want to wake up at 12, or I want to go wake up at 8 and do 50 kilometers in the bike and go home, eat 14 eggs and go to sleep, I can. Being el dueño de tu tiempo, being the owner of your time, that is success to me. Because life is this, and when you own your time to somebody, you own your time to somebody. But when you own your own fucking time, man, that's freedom. It's beauty. Right now I'm here, soy sauce beer, we're gonna grab an Uber, we're gonna go to my restaurant, we're gonna have drinks. And if I wanna leave at 8, I leave at 8. If I wanna leave 1 in the morning, 1 in the morning. And if tomorrow I wanna just sit and watch Netflix all day and wait for my kids to come home from school, I can do it. That is success. Freedom of your own fucking time.
I think a lot of people are chasing after that lifestyle, and you are a testament that it is possible, that you can do exactly, you have the choice to do exactly what you want every single day. If people want to connect with you or they want to check out your businesses, your restaurant, where can they find you?
Chef Milanes. That's my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube, my everything. Chef Milanes. And if you write to me, dude, you write to me, I answer. I always answer to everybody. Unless you ask a stupid question. I'll give you a stupid answer and block you. But yeah, Chef Milanes, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, MySpace, everything. You remember MySpace?
Yeah, of course.
Some people sometimes don't get that joke. They're too young.
You'd log in and you'd hear 50 Cent playing on my MySpace page.
That's my background. Yeah, I remember.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute
No, man,
pleasure.
thank you for inviting me, brother. I'm always down to speak to humans.
And let's go eat.
Thank you, brother.